these 5 mistakes are things that are super common, but they're easy to avoid, and avoiding these mistakes will make your application that much better. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Madison. It is nice to meet you. Today we are going to be discussing 5 common mistakes to avoid on your law school application. I think it is almost equally as important to know what not to do on a law school application than to know what to do, because these 5 mistakes are things that are super common, but they're easy to avoid, and avoiding these mistakes will make your application that much better. If you are new, you should subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you as a subscriber. And as always, if you want more videos with my law school advice, my law school application process, I will put a link in the cards. And if you ever have any questions or just want to chat about law school or life, you can leave them in the comments below, or you can message me on Instagram. And without further ado, let's get into mistake number 1. Mistake number 1 is ignoring things on applications that are optional. I know they say they're optional, but they're not optional. For example, if a school has an application question that says, why do you want to go to this school? And there's not the little star by it, and you're thinking, cool, I'm in the clear, I don't gotta do this one, I'm gonna skip it. No, you have to do it. I know it says it's optional. I know for certain schools you really only have to put in your basic information, but if you're not doing that essay, think of all the people that are doing that essay. You need to take your time. I know it's time consuming. I know you don't want to write a 250-word little excerpt about why you want to go to the school, but you have to do it because it's not optional. It's not optional when everybody else is doing it, and if you want to set yourself apart as an applicant, it's something you have to do. So for my school, a lot of things were optional. I don't even think you had to attach a resume. You didn't even need letters of recommendation. They were optional. Really, all you needed to submit was your transcript and a personal statement and an LSAT score. That's it. So I didn't have to submit letters of recommendation. They were optional, but everybody's submitting them. Don't fall into the trap of believing that optional things really are optional because you should do them. Now, there are certain things like character and fitness statements, addendums. Those are optional because you only have to write them under certain circumstances. So those are things that I would really classify as optional, but things like additional essays, explaining why you're a good applicant, other parts that are usually required but some schools may not require, those are never optional. Just fill them out. I know it takes time, but you'll thank me later. My second mistake to avoid is ignoring application instructions. This might seem like a no-brainer, but every application is different. The instructions for applications for each school are long-winded, but you have to read it. You have to read through all of it because every school might have different instructions. One thing that's going to get you automatically put into the no pile is if you're just blatantly ignoring the instructions of a law school application. If a school has a question and they say, answer this question in 200 words or less, and you put 400 words in your response, you are not going above and beyond. You are not going the extra mile. You're breaking the rules of the application. They don't want to read that. They said 200 words. Keep it at 200 words. Even if you feel like you have an amazing response at 400 words, please shorten it because they don't want you breaking the instructions. They have the 200-word limit for a reason. The admissions committee, they got busy lives. They got a lot of applications to go through. They do not want to read your 400-word essay, even though you might think it's great. Number 3, this is specifically in regards to letters of recommendation. A mistake is getting a letter of recommendation from someone who does not know you that well. Another side tip involving letters of recommendation is asking for a letter of recommendation too late. Let's split this into parts. You need to ask for a letter of recommendation from someone who can attest to your attributes and your skills. Someone you've worked relatively closely with. Now, you don't need to have a super established relationship with this person. So whenever I went to get my letters of recommendation, I didn't have any faculty or I didn't have any school staff members that I was super cool with, that I'd walk into the office and be like, yo, Patty, what's up? And we'd like talk for like 6 hours. I didn't have any close faculty relationships like that. And you don't need that to get a good letter of recommendation. That's not what I'm saying. So if you're very introverted, you're very shy, you don't have those relationships with your professors, don't worry. When I was looking for my letters of recommendation, I thought, what professors know my work ethic? They've seen a really good sample of my work. And I picked a professor who I had for a semester, who oversaw one of my internships. I had to do a lot of writing, like 20 pages of writing. I had to actively submit things every week regarding my internship, and I just felt like they had a general grasp of the work I was capable of. So even if you're not super tight with these people, you can still get a good letter of recommendation. Just make sure it's somebody who knows you, and it's not like a professor you had in a lecture of 200 for your 101 anthropology class. They're probably not going to be able to write you a good letter of recommendation because they're not seeing your work at a close level. Going along with that, you need to give your recommenders a good amount of time to write the letter of recommendation. That's why I recommend starting this as early as possible, because you don't want to rush them. You don't want to be sending them emails like, hey, is it done yet? Count on your recommenders taking a month to write it, or maybe even more. I reached out in, I think, September, and I finally had all my letters of rec done by November. It was like a month and a half to a 2-month process for sure, so you need to give them ample time. They're doing you a favor, so you need to send them all the things they need, send your resume, send whatever documentation they want, and then give them time. Number 4 is not devoting enough time to less important parts of your application. Here's what I mean. We all know, if you've watched my videos, I think the numbers, I speak out against the numbers of the law school application process. I try to make it very obvious that LSAT is not the end-all be-all. It is not something that we need to kill ourselves to get a good LSAT score. I think a lot of people might fall into this trap of, wow, I scored a 168 on the LSAT, and my GPA is alright, so let's just submit it and I'll probably get in. Who cares about my personal statement? I'll do it in a day. My resume, it's not updated, but I'll just submit it in because I have a great LSAT score, and that's going to carry me. It's going to carry me all the way. No. You need to devote time to all aspects of your application. The law school application process is a lot of work. Unfortunately, I hate to break it to you. I'm someone who, I cut corners sometimes. I'm like looking for easy ways out. The law school application process, you're not going to get out without doing a lot of work, but it's worth it. Even if you have an amazing LSAT score, like Elle Wood's amazing, and you have a good GPA, still devote time to the less important parts. Say we have 2 applicants. Let's say for some reason they're considering you versus another applicant. You have the same LSAT score, you have the same GPA. Then they're looking at your personal statement. They can tell you didn't put any effort into it because you thought your LSAT score was going to carry you, and this other person did. Boom, now you're on the wait list, this person gets in. You need to consider all parts equally because all parts are what's going to get you into law school. My final law school application mistake to avoid is not thoroughly researching each school that you apply to. People apply to a lot of schools. Some people apply to 15 schools in a cycle. Easy. And they don't intend on going to all of them. Sometimes they apply to them just to get the acceptance to use it to bargain at another school to get a higher scholarship. That's fine. But even if you're applying to these schools as kind of like throwaway schools or like a safety net school and it's not your dream school, you still need to be doing research before you apply. Your application is not something that you can just copy and paste from school to school. Your personal statement should vary a little bit. Your answers to application questions are going to vary a little bit. If you go the extra mile and research a school for even like an hour, and you can reference things in your application that show that you've done that research, it sets you apart. It shows, hey, they actually are interested in coming to our school. And newsflash, admissions committees want people to come to their school who want to come to their school. I know that's a revolutionary thought. For example, on my school's application, it asked why we would want to come to the school. And so I did a lot of research. I found 3 clinics that the school offered that interested me, and I found how this was unique from other law schools. I looked at their mission statement. You're making a big mistake if you're just looking at the top 14 and you're thinking, I'll apply to this one, this one, this one, this one, and then you're just applying without doing any research. Each application for each school is going to be mostly the same, but there are going to be individualized depending on the school, and you're gonna have to put in some research. Alright, that is all I have for 5 mistakes to avoid on your law school application. If you want a part 2 to this video, let me know in the comments below and subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you as a subscriber, and I will see you in my next video.